All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who well. Peace and blessings and citations to the hopeful elect, the Bayat, Awadah, the house of David. All right, so we're just going to go right into it, okay? All right, so this is Psalms 2. And over in the KJV first, and we got it in the NLT, it says, why do the heathen rage? We're reading the KJV first. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh and against his anointed, which is Yahweh Shai, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. And then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. Now in the NLT, why are the nations so angry, Salakia? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? The kings of the earth prepare for battle. The rulers plot together against the Lord Yahweh and against his anointed one, Yahweh Shai. Let us break their chains, they cry, and free ourselves from slavery to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? It says, but the one who laughs in heaven, and the one who rules in heaven laughs, the Lord scoffs at them. Then, in anger, he rebukes them, terrifying them with his furious fury. Right, so let's go over the Psalms, the 10th chapter. Right? And let's go to the third verse. And this is in the NLT, and the KJV and the NLT. It says, let's read it in the KJV first. It says, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covenants of whom the Lord abhorreth. Now let's go over to the third verse for that. It says, for they brag about their evil desires. What are their evil desires? A new world order, right? To chip everybody. Biometrics, biometrics, digital ID. You see, data centers and tracking you, right? Track, trace, and control under Palantir and Gideon, right? You see? All right? And a chip inside you, which is a tracker, right? Hooked up to high frequencies, the 6G towers, a blockchain technology, right? CBDC, central bank digital currencies, right? You see? Credit scores, you see? Right? Carbon footprint, and so on and so forth. All things of track, trace, and control, right? To see what you do on a daily basis, to keep eyes on you, to keep track of you. Okay? Now, let's jump down to the fourth verse. And let's read it in the KJV, right? It says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after Yahweh. Yahweh is not in all of his thoughts. It says, the wicked are too proud to seek Yahweh. They seem to think that Yahweh is dead, right? So they're trying to play gods on the earth without the Heavenly Father. They said there's no need for the Heavenly Father, right? Yahweh. Okay? There's no need for his son Yahweh Shai, because he's gonna come, because Yahweh Shai is coming back to take the kingdom. He's coming to set up the kingdom of heaven here on the earth. Right? Starting with the first fruits, the 144,000, right? Who are going to be gods on the earth, right? You see? And this what these devils don't want. They're trying to take away the blessing of Jacob, right? Which is the 12 tribes of Israel. You see? Mainly starting with the first fruits of Israel, because the first fruits is the remnant who is going to inherit the kingdom first. Okay? You see? So now let's go down to here, right? Let's go right here to verse 5. It says, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far out of his sight. This is in KJV. As for his enemies, he puffeth at them. Right. It says, yeah, they succeed in everything they do. They do not see your punishment awaiting them. They snare at all the enemies. Right. Verse 6. It says, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. Over here in the NLT, it says, they think nothing bad will ever happen to us. we will be free of trouble forever. See, and that's what they think. They'll be free of trouble forever. But little do they know, they going into slavery, man. Talking about the super elites first and foremost, all right? They're going to be the first fruits of slavery. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the nobility, the 13 nobility families who are over the 13 Illuminati families, right? Because there's a chain of command with the Edomites just as well. You see? Right? And the 13 black nobility families are the ones who are over top, or who are over top. They do a lot of the shot calling, right? And then you got the Vatican, right, with the Jesuits, the Freemasons, the man, I forgot. There's a list, but there's a chain of command of how it goes, right? Just like there's a chain of command with the Israelites, starting with our Heavenly Father Yahweh, and then his son Yahushai, who's the second in command to Yahweh, right? And then it's King David, and then it's all the way down. There's a chain of command, and that's how they have it set up here, because they're a left-hand priesthood. We are a right-hand priesthood of righteousness. You understand? Right? But they dwell in wickedness, complete, total wickedness, man. Talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right? All right, it says, let's go down here to verse 7. It says, his mouth is full of cursing. This is in the KJV. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, and under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Right, over in the NLT, it says, their mouths are full of cursing, lies, and threats. Right? Trouble and evil are in the tips of their tongues. Okay? All right? Let's go down here to verse 9, KJV. It says, he lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den, and he lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth them into his net. Right. And this snare, this trap, right, of a digital system be hooking you up to the cloud, EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, and RF radio frequencies, right? Blue light, all right? Lucifer, Luciferius, okay? What that juice was all about. All right? See, when you understand about Esau, you can see through that devil and all of his wickedness. See, the Most High gave me the eyesight, the eyesalve to see right through that devil's plans. Okay? You see? You see right through that devil. And I can give you all the information on that devil. All right? Okay? But anyway, let's go over here to verse 9. It says, like lions crouched and hiding, they wait to pounce on the helpless. You see, they wait to pounce on the helpless, and that's what they waiting on, right? See, this is a what you call a setup in order for you to fall right into the digital system, right? The digital tracking system, okay? All right, it says, like hunters, they capture the helpless and drag them away in nets. All right? Okay? So let's read verse 10. It says, this is KJV first. It says, he croucheth and he humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. Over in the NLT, it says, their helpless victims are crushed. They fall beneath the strength of the wicked. Right? It says, he have said in his heart, Yahweh have forgotten, and he hideth his face, and he will never see it. Over in the NLT, it says, the wicked think Yahweh isn't watching us. He have closed his eyes and won't even see what we do. All right? So now let's go over in the let's go to Habakkuk, right? Let's keep it in the Let's keep it in the NLT. Let's go over in the Habakkuk, 2nd chapter, and let's go to the 3rd verse. All right, let's start in the KJV first. All right, we'll go into the 3rd verse. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there coming a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Son of destruction is Esau, Edom. And he's being revealed by who? The prophets. By the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the prophets are speaking. You see, and we're showing you what's going on We're putting the receipts right in your face, letting you know that this man is a devil, the wicked that the Bible speaks of, all right? Okay, so verse 3 over in the KJV, don't be fooled by what they say, for that day will not come until there is a great rebellion against Yahweh and the men of lawlessness. Who is the man of lawlessness? Esau, Edom, the Edomites, all right? Starting with the top banking families first, right? Starting with their chain of command and how they run their whole organization, right? Is revealed the one who brings destruction. All right, verse number 4, right? It says, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God, right? I'm reading it off verbatim. Or that is worshipped so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, right? Over in the NLT, it says, he will exalt himself and defy everything the people call God and every object of worship, and he will even sit in the temple of God, claiming that he himself is God. And that's what this devil is doing, right? Through his left-hand miracles, his left-hand witchcraft, right? You got pharmakia, right? Pharmakia making all these magical pills of witchcraft, and you got all of these many different surgical things by AI and all these things of that nature. The BCI, the brain chip interface, right, which is the mark of the beast, or one part of the mark of the beast, which is in your head, and then you got in your hands the RFID microchip, right, which is simple radio frequency identification. That's tracking, tracing, and control under a 6G frequency. All right. Okay, 5G, 6G frequency, the juice, all right, the juicy juice and everything of that nature to firstly get you hooked up to the cloud. Then the biometrics identification. You see, eye retina scans, facial recognition, fingerprint scans, and all these things of that nature, right? But ultimately, that chip is entitled with you, right? So you put everything on a blockchain technology where they know what you do at all times. They can track and trace it, right? Because the CBDCs, which I really think the stable coin, because it's been on my spirit, is hooked up to a private bank, which is going to come out of the UK, right, out of London, by the bankers, the international bankers, right, who are going to control and be able to use those as universal basic income. Okay, so you understand, all right? So now let's go over here down in verse 5 over in the KJV. It says, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. It says over in the NLT, it said, don't you remember I told you about all this when I was with you? All right. All right. Let's go down here to verse 9. Actually, let's read verse 6. It says, and now ye know know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord will consume with the spirit of his mouth. That's by the prophets, right? And destroy with the brightness of his coming. And that's physical when Yahweh shall return with the angels, the host, the army, right? A innumerable number of angels in their chariots, and Yahweh shall coming in his chariot, right? Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, right? Pseudoscience, all right? And so on and so forth. So now let's go back up here to verse number 6 and read it in the NLT. It says, and you know what is holding him back, for he can be revealed only when his time comes. For the lawlessness is already at work secretly, and it will remain secret until the one who is holding it back steps out of the way. Then the man of lawlessness will be revealed, but the Lord Yahushua will slay him with the breath of his lips, with the breath of his mouth, and destroy him with the splendor of his coming. This man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles. You see that? All right. So let me go over here. All right. Did we get the book of Habakkuk? No, we didn't get the book of Habakkuk. But we'll get the book of Habakkuk, right? So this is the book of Habakkuk. Let's go to the third verse. The third verse, right? It says, let's read it in the KJV first. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. All right? It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. It says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, and neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Now, let's go and read it over in the NLT. In verse number 3. It says, this vision is for a future time. It describes the end, and it will be fulfilled. If it seems slow, it is in coming. Wait patiently, for it will surely take place, and it will not be delayed. Look at the proud. They trust in themselves, and their lives are crooked. But the righteous will live by the faithfulness to Yahweh. Wealth is treacherous, and the arrogant are never at rest. They open their mouths as wide as the grave, and they like death, and they are never satisfied. In their greed they have gathered up many nations and swallowed many peoples. You see? All right. So let me get Micah 2. Okay, Micah 2. And let's just keep it over in the NLT. Micah 2 and verse number 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. Right. Verse 2, it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. NLT, it says, what sorrow awaits you who lie awake at night thinking of evil plans? You rise at dawn and hurry to carry them out, simply because you have the power to do so. When you want a piece of land, you find a way to seize it. When you want someone's house, you take it away by fraud and violence. You cheat a man of his property, stealing his family's inheritance. You see? Okay? And that's these devils, man. All right? That's these devils. Okay? Now, these devils have all types of AI data centers set up all over the planet, man. All right, and while they're using that HARP program to bringing the rainfall, because all the rain is being sucked up, water's being sucked up. That's why they're using that HARP program right now. You can see these devils using that thing, man. Okay. All right. So now let's go into John 10 and 10. All right. John 10 and 10. John 10 and verse number 10. Let's read in the KJV. It says, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they may have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. Right. Verse 10 over in NLT, it says, the thief's purpose is to steal and kill and destroy. My purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life. You see? 2 Corinthians 2 2 and 11. Okay? It says, least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Over in NLT, it says, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his wicked schemes. And that's right, we are familiar with this devil's wicked schemes, man. Because this man is a devil. He's the wicked. And we see him, man. We have the eye solved to see this man. Right? And we see what he got going on. We see his system that he wants to get up and running. But Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to destroy that Tower of Babel, man. Okay? So where you want everybody hooked up to the cloud, man. All right? You want to track, trace, and control everything. All right? You damn devils. Okay? So now let's go in here to end it off. Right? Revelation 13. All right, let's just go back into the NLT. Into the regular, right? Because let's go down to here. the 16th verse. Matter of fact, we'll start at the 15th verse. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You see? Right? And the image is this system. This system, right? Because they're gonna brand you with a chip. You see, you're gonna be branded as a symbol of servitude to the beast. All right, meaning you confessing to loving this world when you take that microchip. All right, that you say it's better for you to worship the creature rather than the Creator, Yahweh, through His Son Yahweh Shai. All right. So you love this system, you love this world. Okay, verse 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, the mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, I'm not going to go into it all because I went into it all in the last video. So you should already understand what the word mark and and all these things of that nature is, man, which is charagma. Right, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell. Right, now buying and selling, right, we always mention that's transactional. But it's actually it's compliance as well that goes with this too, because see, this is a compliance thing, right? That's why you got Revelation 2 and 10, right? Fear none of those things, right? That shall happen, for the devil shall cast some of you into prison, right? That you may be tried by what? The RFID microchip, right? Okay, you see, guillotines, torture rooms, right? Firing squads. You understand? The red list, the blue list, the yellow list, the King Alfred plan, right? It says, and that no man might buy or sell, saith he that have the mark. So you're not going to be able to do nothing without that mark, man. Without that RFID microchip. You see? You're going to be expurgated out of society. And ultimately, right, if you're men of the Lord, right, like us, right, they want to do away with us, man. Okay? That's what they really want to do. They want to do, because we speaking against this society. We telling them that this man's kingdom is going to be destroyed. All right? You see? It says, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. This is the fourth beast, the revitalized Roman Empire. Okay? You have to understand that, man. The Lord backed up this empire for the end of all be also, for the kingdom of heaven to be set up here on the earth for eternity. You understand what I just said? Eternity. There's nothing that's going to rise after our kingdom is established here on the earth. We will rule forever and ever and ever. And all the nations will be slaves under us. It will be a futile society in our kingdom. Right? Just as it is here. Right? We will have rulership over the nations, over all the nations. Esau, Edom, after his 1,000 years of slavery, will be obliterated. Obadiah 1 and 18. He's out of there, done, through. Avita Singh, all right? Arrivederci, okay? All right? It says, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that haveth understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, right? The number of imperfection. The number 6 is the number of imperfection. 7 is the number of completion, right? 8 is the number of glory. All right. 12 is which I think it's a foundation. Okay, when you look up the number 12. All right, which is the kingdom. The kingdom is to come. Or 9. 9 is the foundation, Salakia. All right. 12, I think 12 symbolized rulership, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'll let you know right now. Give me 1 second, brothers. I'll read it out to you. All right, I'll read it out to you. Give me 1 second. Yup, 12 is rulership. All right, 11 is destruction, 10 is perfection, 9 is foundation, 8 is glory, 7 is completion, 6 is man, beast, and sex, power is 5, mercy is 4, understanding is 3, knowledge is 2, and wisdom is 1. You see? So when you understand all of those, right? Okay? So now let's go over. You take that beast, Yahabashim Yahshai will destroy you. Let's go to the 16th, right? Because you got grievous swords. So let's go over Revelation 16 and 2. It says, and the first went and poured out his vial, this is the angel, upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sword. A grievous sword is Halkos, right? Which I'm not gonna go into it because you should already know it. Right? Which is an ulcer, right? Coming together, drawn together as a pus, right? You see, from high frequencies of radiation, right? It says, upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. Now, let's go down to verse number 10. It says, and the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their...
I have a jar right here. This is the current drinking water in Morgan County, Georgia. Right after a data center was constructed, the metadata center was constructed. The only difference between the clean water and this was that data center. I have another one as well. So this wasn't just one well. These wasn't just one family's situation. This is what the drinking water now looks like next to that data center. And I think both of us can agree that neither one of these things are drinkable. These families now have to ship, in a rural area, have to ship water to their house in order to cook and bathe themselves. Now, I'm curious if the EPA plans any investigations on how data centers are affecting water quality and availability. I understand what you said about the rule, but are there going to be any open investigations on this issue?
So as soon as I get back to the office, I will be looking into exactly what you've just talked about, because anywhere, whatever type of construction it is a priority to ensure that water quality standards established by EPA are being met. And so we'll be looking into that certainly.
We are so close to the scariest, most dystopian system. This is what the drive to build all these thousands of data centers is about, to micromanage the world's population through the new financial world order. AI is really about that. We're heading towards digital control systems where we have no more control over our liquid assets. It will be programmable, permission-based, so only what the central planners allow you to use your money for, at what time and place and location will be permitted. And if you're in the wrong place, it's not going to work. And if you're buying the wrong book, it's not going to work. Your money won't work outside a certain zone, whether it's 15-minute prison zone or whatever it may be. It is the totalitarian dictator's dream